The KeysDAN Show. It's the KeysDAN Show. I need a new theme for the KeysDAN Show. You might hear news. You might learn stuff. You never know what you're going to get on the KeysDAN Show. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, The KeysDAN Show. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. This week's shows, I have, the RAB in Conway, Arkansas. So if you're listening to this and you don't have anything to do on a Friday night, what do you mean you don't have anything to do on a Friday night? Yes, you have something to do on a Friday night. You can go to the RAB in Conway, Arkansas. If you're 21 or over, yes. Drink responsibly. A message from KeysDAN. All right, they got a full bar, the kitchen's open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night, oh yeah, I forgot. I buried the lead. It's a video dance party karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke as we break out of this coronavirus pandemic. We got things to do. We got people to see. We want to get out of the house. I mean, I know that there's already treatments happening. There's vaccines that are going around the world, but we still recommend that you wear your mask as you're walking in, as you're walking around the place, to take care of each other. When you're sitting down having your drinky drinks and your good food, you could pull the mask down a little bit so you can get at your eating hole. But we got to wear the mask while we're walking around and interacting with folks until everything gets nailed down with this novel COVID-19 coronavirus. I guess it's not so novel anymore. Scientists know a little bit about it, so I guess that takes the novel part away. It's still new, but it's not as scary as it was or as it could have been 1 year ago. Well, as I record this, it's Thursday, March 25th, 2021. So let's do some news about what's going on today. Oh, wait, before that, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today, and then some history, and then maybe, what's going on this date. There's always something good on the days of the year calendar. But, if you like the sound of my voice, I'll talk you through it. I'll talk you through it. We got 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, March 25th, 2021. 10 things you need to know today. Number one, Biden puts Harris in charge of border efforts. President Biden announced Wednesday that Vice President Kamala Harris will lead the administration's effort to curb a surge of migrants trying to cross the southern border into the United States. Harris will work with the governments of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to figure out ways to work together to reduce the flow of migrants, families, and unaccompanied minors seeking asylum in the U.S. Quote, "This new surge that we are dealing with now started with the last administration, but it is our responsibility to deal with it humanely and to stop what is happening," end quote, Biden said. Biden has said he wants Harris's role in the administration to be like the one he played when he served as former President Barack Obama's vice president and headed the administration's efforts on key issues like supporting the U.S. economy in the wake of the financial crisis. This is according to the Washington Post. Number two, mourners honor Boulder shooting victims with vigils. Mourners held vigils on Wednesday to honor the 10 people killed in a Monday shooting rampage at a Boulder, Colorado supermarket. Police and members of the community lined a parkway as the body of Officer Eric Talley, who was killed as he responded to reports of gunfire, was transported from Boulder to a funeral home in nearby Aurora. Candlelight vigils were held in Boulder for all the victims. Talley, 51, Denny Strong, 20, Nevin Stanisic, 23, Ricky Olds, 25, Trilona Bartkowiak, 49, Suzanne Fountain, 59, Terry Liker, 51, Kevin Mahoney, 61, Lynn Murray, 62, and Jody Waters, 65. The suspected shooter, Ahmad Al-Alawi Alyssa, has been charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He is scheduled to make his first appearance in court early Thursday. This is according to the Denver Post and the New York Times. Number 3, AstraZeneca says updated analysis found COVID-19 vaccine 76% effective. AstraZeneca on Wednesday released an analysis with updated data that found its coronavirus vaccine was 76% effective in preventing symptomatic COVID-19, down slightly from the initial claim of 79% effectiveness. It is 100% effective at preventing severe illness and hospitalization. Days earlier, government scientists said AstraZeneca had cherry-picked data from a predominantly U.S. study of 32,000 people relying on, quote, incomplete information, end quote, to come up with the initial estimate of its effectiveness. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the top U.S. infectious disease expert, said Wednesday before AstraZeneca released its update that the controversy was an, quote, unforced error, end quote, but he was confident that when all of the data was vetted, it would, quote, turn out to be a good vaccine, end quote. This is according to Stat News and the Associated Press. Number 4, daily COVID-19 deaths fall to lowest level since November. Public health experts at a Wednesday White House briefing touted mounting signs of progress in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Dozens of states are opening vaccinations to all adults or plan to do so within weeks, and 70% of Americans 65 or older already have received at least one dose. COVID-19 deaths have fallen below 1,000 a day on average, dropping to levels last seen in November. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the government's top infectious disease expert, said Wednesday it was still too early to declare victory, noting that new cases have remained above 50,000 per day. Quote, I'm often asked, are we turning the corner? End quote. Fauci said, quote, my response is really more like we are at the corner. Whether or not we are going to be turning that corner still remains to be seen, end quote. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 5, Rachel Levine becomes first openly transgender official confirmed by Senate. The Senate on Wednesday confirmed Rachel Levine as the top Assistant Secretary for Health, making her the highest-ranking openly transgender person to serve in the U.S. government. Before becoming the first openly transgender person confirmed by the Senate, Levine served as Pennsylvania's top health official. The Senate approved her on Wednesday in a 52-48 vote, with Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska joining all of the chamber's Democrats and independents. Quote, I firmly believe that turning points such as today's Senate confirmation vote for Dr. Levine's appointment are powerful indications that this nation is truly heading down the pathway to lasting transgender equality, end quote, said Rafi Friedman Gerspan, who served in the Obama administration and was the first openly transgender official to work in the White House. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 6, Virginia abolishes the death penalty. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, Democrat, on Wednesday signed a law making the state the 23rd to abolish the death penalty. Virginia's ban marked a huge shift as it has put to death more people in its history than any other state, and it is the first state in the South to end capital punishment since the U.S. Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976. Quote, "We can't give out the ultimate punishment without being 100% sure that we are right, and we can't sentence people to that ultimate punishment knowing that the system doesn't work the same for everyone," end quote, Northam said before signing the bill at the Greenville Correctional Center, where Virginia's death chamber is located. This is according to CNN. Number 7, Myanmar releases hundreds detained in junta's crackdown. Myanmar's ruling military junta on Wednesday released hundreds of people arrested in its crackdown on protesters demanding a return to democratic rule. Several buses took prisoners out of Yangon's Insein prison, although the military did not confirm how many were being freed. Quote, "All the released are the ones arrested due to the protests, as well as night arrest or those who were out to buy something," end quote, said a member of legal advisory group. Associated Press journalist Thine Saw, who was arrested last month, was among those released. The Assistance Association for Political Prisoners said at least 2,000 people had been detained since protests erupted in response to the February 1 coup. United Nations officials in New York said they remained concerned about ongoing arbitrary arrests. This is according to Reuters. Number 8, gas prices rise as demand rebounds from the pandemic plunge. Gas prices hit an average of $2.88 per gallon over the past week, up by about 1/3 compared to the same time last year, according to AAA. Fuel prices have gotten a boost from rebounding oil prices as the global economy recovers from the devastation of coronavirus lockdowns. Crude oil prices, which had already been rising, jumped by 5.9% on Wednesday as a massive container ship went aground in the Suez Canal, blocking shipping traffic in a waterway that is vital to the international oil market. The jump in gas prices ahead of the summer driving season is helping energy companies recover after being clobbered by a drop in demand as the pandemic halted most travel last year. Shares of fuel company Valero rose by 2.4%, and those of Phillips 66 gained 3.9% on Wednesday. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Number 9, Democrats start push to expand voting rights. Senate Democrats on Wednesday held a Senate Rules Committee hearing to launch an effort to expand voting rights and counter efforts by Republican state legislators to impose new restrictions. Quote, "Today, in the 21st century, there is a concerned nationwide effort to limit the rights of citizens to vote," end quote, said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York. The bill, called For the People Act, seeks to make it easier for Americans to vote and end partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts. It also includes new campaign finance rules. Republicans are united in their opposition to the legislation. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican Texas, called the bill a, quote, "brazen and shameless power grab by Democrats," end quote, falsely claiming it would let millions of undocumented immigrants register to vote. This is according to the New York Times. Number 10, Rappano tells Congress gender pay gap unacceptable. Soccer star Megan Rappano told lawmakers on Wednesday that it is, quote, "unacceptable," end quote, that women still have to fight to close the gender pay gap. Quote, "There is no level of status, then there's no accomplishment or power that will protect you from the clutches of inequality," end quote, Rappano said in a House Oversight Committee hearing on Equal Pay Day. Quote, "One cannot simply outperform inequality or be excellent enough to escape discrimination of any kind," end quote, said Rappano, a star in a U.S. women's national team whose players earned far less than their male counterparts despite performing far better on the world stage. Quote, "We can change that right now. We just have to want to," end quote. This is according to CBS News. That's 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, March 25th, 2016. Thank you so much for listening. Let's see what's going on this date in history. I like to look up some history because if we don't study history, we're doomed to relive it. So on this date in history, the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire kills 146 in New York City. In one of the darkest moments of America's industrial history, the Triangle Shirtwaist Company factory in New York City burns down, killing 146 workers on March 25th, 1911. The tragedy led to the development of a series of laws and regulations that better protected the safety of factory workers. The Triangle factory, owned by Max Blank and Isaac Harris, was located in the top 3 floors of the 10-story Ash building in downtown Manhattan. It was a sweatshop in every sense of the word, a cramped space lined with workstations and packed with poor immigrant workers, mostly teenaged women who did not speak English. At the time of the fire, there were 4 elevators with access to the factory floors, but only one was fully operational, and it could only hold 12 people at a time. There were 2 stairways down to the street, but one was locked from the outside to prevent theft by workers, and the other opened only inward. The fire escape, as all would come to see, was shoddily constructed and could not support the weight of more than a few women at a time. Blank and Harris had already suspicious history of factory fires. The Triangle factory was twice scorched in 1902, while their Diamond Waste Company factory burned twice in 1907 and in 1910. It seems that the Blank and Harris deliberately torched their workplaces before business hours in order to collect on the large fire insurance policies they purchased, a not uncommon practice in the early 20th century. While this was not the cause of the 1911 fire, it contributed to the tragedy, as Blank and Harris refused to install sprinkler systems and take other safety measures in case they needed to burn down their shops again. Added to this delinquency were Blank and Harris's notorious anti-worker policies. Their employees were paid a mere $15 per week, despite working 12 hours a day, every day. When the International Ladies Garment Workers Union led a strike in 1909, demanding higher pay and shorter and more predictable hours, Blank and Harris's company was one of the few manufacturers who resisted, hiring police as thugs to imprison the striking women and paying off politicians to look the other way. On March 25th, a Saturday afternoon, there were 600 workers at the factory when a fire broke out in a rag bin on the 8th floor. The manager turned the fire hose on it, but the hose was rotted and its valve was rusted shut. Panic ensued as the workers fled to every exit. The elevator broke down only after 4 trips, and women began jumping down the shaft to their deaths. Those who fled down the wrong set of stairs were trapped inside and burned alive. Other women trapped on the 8th floor began jumping out the windows, which created a problem for the firefighters whose hoses were crushed by falling bodies. Also, the firefighters' ladders stretched only as high as the 7th floor, and their safety nets were not strong enough to catch the women, who were jumping 3 at a time. Blank and Harris were on the building's top floor with some workers when the fire broke out. They were able to escape by climbing onto the roof and hopping to an adjoining building. The fire was out within half an hour, but not before 140 died. The workers' union organized a march on April 5th to protest the conditions that led to the fire. It was attended by 80,000 people. Though Blank and Harris were put on trial for manslaughter, they managed to get off scot-free. Still, the massacre for which they were responsible did finally compel the city to enact reform. In addition to the Sullivan-Hoey fire prevention law passed that October, the New York Democratic took up the cause of the worker and became known as a Reform Party. Whew. That sounds tough. But through tragedy, some reform came about. I'm sorry those ladies had to lose their lives. Did they have to? Maybe. I don't usually editorialize, but, that hits me hard, when negligence causes people to die. Hey, some good news. Some good news in history. March 25th. Today is the bicentennial anniversary of the Greek uprising, celebrated by Greeks around the world as Independence Day. The revolt was launched 200 years ago today against the Ottoman Empire, which had ruled over Greece for 300 years. The symbolic launch was the moment Bishop Germanos of Patras raised the flag of revolution, the banner and the cross over the monastery of Agia Lavra in the Peloponnese Peninsula under the battle cry, "Freedom or Death." They won the revolution 8 years later, thanks to the naval assistance from France, Russia, and Great Britain, and artists like the poet Lord Byron promoting the struggle. The Treaty of Edirne was signed in 1879, establishing independence and establishing an independent Greek state. The public holiday includes parades throughout the country with people wearing traditional Greek clothing and military flyovers in Athens. That was in 1821, March 25. Today, all right, I also like to look at the days of the days of the year calendar as we wind this thing down, and usually there's something fun happening every day of the year. Today there's 5 something funs happening today that get recognized. At least March, the whole month of March is endometriosis awareness month, and March of 2021 is social work month. But particularly on March 25th, it's Tolkien Reading Day. So if you haven't read, I guess, what is it, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, get on it because it's Tolkien Reading Day. I expect all of those reading assignments finished by the end of the day. That's a lofty goal. I don't think, that's a lofty goal to try to read all of Tolkien in one day. Today is Pecan Day. So if you're not allergic to pecans, have something with pecans in it. But the biggest thing that is mentioned on days of the year calendar, it's Waffle Day. Yeah. Have you had a waffle today? It's virtually impossible to completely understand the significance of the waffle unless a person has tried one themselves. Waffles are certainly memorable, especially if they are made to perfection, crispy on the outside with a soft, doughy center, covered in powdered sugar, sweet syrup, or jam. It's actually the divots that make the whole thing absolutely melt in the mouth. This day offers a fun, interesting history that spans cultures and geography. So it's time to get started celebrating Waffle Day. The history of Waffle Day. Waffle Day began in Scandinavia as Waffeldagen. It was actually a bit of a blunder that led to this being Waffle Day at all. Although it seems serendipitous now, the original problem was due to confusion between the Swedish Varfendagen, meaning Our Lady's Day, which is a religious holiday that falls late in March, 9 months before Christmas. Over time, the pronunciation for the religious celebration was slurred, and eating waffles naturally entered into the picture. Naturally. While it developed gradually over time, no one knows exactly what year it began. Waffles have been around in Sweden since at least the 1600s or longer. So it stands to reason that Waffle Day is not a modern occurrence. Now, Waffle Day is celebrated in not only Sweden, but Norway and Denmark, as well as other European countries. The day in March historically marks the beginning of spring, and people of other nationalities have begun to adopt the day as well. The alternative Waffle Day, celebrated August 24th, began in the United States and honors the anniversary of the patenting of the first U.S. Waffle Iron in 1869. This waffle iron was invented by Cornelius Swarthout of Troy, New York. Ooh, great name. So, as it turns out, waffles are such a popular worldwide phenomenon that they merit 2 days in the calendar to celebrate them. But it's likely that no one is going to complain about that. Not me. Whichever day is picked to honor it, however, the waffle is certainly deserving of celebration. The remarkable dough-based griddle cakes can be eaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as a snack, or for dessert. And then there is that whole other business of the potato waffle, a different thing altogether, but still tasty in its own right. In any case, this day is a great one for learning about and celebrating anything and everything that has to do with waffles. Waffles, waffles, waffles. How to celebrate Waffle Day. What a fun and easy day to enjoy. It's uncomplicated and absolutely delicious. Waffles are an easy treat to make and a yummy one to eat, so be sure to join in on the celebration. Consider these ways to bring attention to this fabulous day. Try waffles from different cultures. Go on a waffle adventure. Take this day to explore the vast array of flavors in the world of the waffle has to offer. Tuck into American waffles topped with fried chicken, or alternatively stacked and drenched in sugary maple syrup for breakfast. Don't forget a slice or two of crispy bacon. How could you forget the bacon? A standard since the 1600s and the place where the day came from, Swedish waffles are similar to other waffles, but made in special irons that create four heart shapes. These are served with a dollop of cream, fresh berries, or berry compote. Or travel east and sample a soft and sweet Hong Kong waffle laced with the flavors of peanut butter or honey melon. It would be easy to waffle on forever about the tasty options that are available when it comes to eating this delicious treat. Get waffles at a restaurant. Many different waffle restaurants offer special deals for an important event such as Waffle Day. Check out local restaurants to see what they have to offer, such as Waffle House. Hey, there's one right down the street, located in 25 U.S. states. Typically offers special deals or coupons for this day. International House of Pancakes. Also one down the street, with locations in the U.S., Canada, Ecuador, Mexico, Guatemala, and Peru, offers a chicken and waffles plate that is extremely popular. The Huddle House. Do we still have a Huddle House? There's got to be one around here somewhere. A chain throughout the southern United States. It has been known to offer a Waffle Day deal that includes a side of bacon or sausage free with the purchase of waffles. Check out other waffle restaurants in nearby locations. Get creative with the Waffle Iron. Waffle irons don't have to be just for basic, boring batter. They can be used to make creative treats such as these. Place refrigerated cinnamon roll dough on each of the 4 squares of the iron. Close and cook until done. Use different colors of food coloring to turn the ho-hum waffles into exciting rainbow fun. Pour cupcake batter into the waffle iron and cook as usual, removing and cooling. Create sandwiches with the canned frosting or ice cream. Ooh. Use normal waffle batter, add bacon and egg to the middle, top with more batter, and cook a breakfast waffle sandwich. Oh man, oh my goodness. Waffles at the World's Fair in New York. A convenient food for eating on the go. Belgian waffles were officially introduced to the American people at the World's Fair in 1964, held in Syracuse, New York. Maurice and Rose Vermoche and their daughters, a Belgian family, made waffles that were different from American waffles in that they were crispy, fluffy, and airy. The treat was an instant hit, and the family served an average of 2,500 waffles per day. These sweet snacks were originally meant to be called Brussels waffles, as they are a popular feature in the Belgian capital. But the family quickly realized that most Americans didn't know where Brussels was, so they settled on Belgian waffles, and the name stuck. Yeah, that's a little bit about what happened today, March 25th. I love it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Today is March 25th, 2021. This has been the KeysDAN Show. man, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate it so much. And also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And if you want to see me play video games, I've been doing that too, streaming video games. Use the hashtag KeysDAN Gaming to find me. I think I'm on Twitch, sometimes on YouTube, but a lot of times on Twitch and Facebook Gaming. So find that using the hashtag KeysDAN Gaming. There you go. That's it for this edition of the KeysDAN Show. I appreciate you for listening so much. Thank you. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace.